Hello and welcome. In this series of videos I am going to share with you how to I'm taking my 2.8 troop carrier to the next level. I've called it 2.8 Advanced for the want of a better title, and what I'm going to be doing in the next series of videos is, apart from going on and on about how nice it is to build vehicles like this, I'm going to talk about the AC compressor system that I fitted my final results and conclusion with. That suspension, I'm taking suspension improvement, ride improvement to the next level. I've got some nice little things that one goes shopping every now and again at these four-wheel drive accessory places and go, oh, that's quite nice, and if you're on their mailing list then they suck you in on buying stuff, and I've bought 3 products that I'm going to fit and just talk about. The vehicle now has some nice seat covers. I'll talk briefly about those, very briefly. Also some bar work. I've decided not to fit a rear bumper wheel carrier, and I'll explain why later, but I found some very, very nice side steps over east, fitting those. I've updated my 3D printed center console for my switching. There is still nothing available that I can find that I like online, so I had to do it myself. I'm going to solve one of the problems with the 2.8, I hope. The biggest problem with it is I've called it turbo lag, but I'm thinking that maybe it isn't turbo lag. Perhaps it's just a dim-witted gearbox. While running fast, while driving hard with the vehicle, the gearbox is actually very well mannered. But when stop-start, it's dim-witted, slow, and it's, oh, do you mean you want, oh, the lights are green, of course, right, okay. And that's how long it takes from the time you put your accelerate foot down to the time it actually moves. It's very slow. So I believe that can be sorted. And lastly, the wrap. I'm not in love with the wrap. I love my blue Troopy I love the grey one, the V8 that I built in Australia. This one, you know, the purpose of the wrap is not just to protect the vehicle, which in this case it doesn't really do because it's not a full wrap. And also the idea that I love when leaving your campsite and then you turn around and you see your campsite and you go, whoa, boy, oh, and gives you a warm fuzz. This doesn't. I like it, I don't love it. I don't know if I'm going to do another wrap because it's expensive. So I'm not sure at this moment. But let's get on with the video. This one is about the AC compressor system built into this car. If you want to save and you already have a fairly large inverter in your vehicle and you want to save a lot of money and get far better performance out of your compressor, watch this. I'm Andrew St Pierre White, explorer, overlander and broadcaster with over 40 years driving 4x4s. In association with Egon, game-changing simplicity. Those of you who've been watching will know that I've been trying out an experiment with an AC-powered compressor. Now, the end results, it works very well, it's very inexpensive, it's very fast, very powerful, but it takes up quite a bit of space, so I have to do a bit of work in my vehicle to reduce the size of its footprint. With the installation complete, I'm now going to turn it on. I do that by toggling the inverter switch. The inverter will take couple of seconds to turn on. There you go, it's running, and now I just turn on. Now listen how quiet this is. Can you hear it? That is unbelievably quiet. So that part of it, good. Now, what about that thing that I mentioned to you that I was going to into South Africa to find out about? That very interesting product. Fact is that there is a company in South Africa that has done this almost exactly, but actually better than I had first thought of, because they have changed the Schrader valves, standard tire valves, for something else, which means the flow of air is going to be far easier in and out of the tire itself. And they've also built a system where you can set the pressure. You dial it in, press a button, and it either deflates or inflates, depending on what you set the pressure. I'll get to that in a minute. Now, I have run a hose from the connection behind my front seat. This is not the ideal location for it. In my view, the best location for any kind of receptacle for plugging in tire pumping equipment is outside at the back. Outside because, you know, working with tires and things is often very dusty, very, very messy. You want to be able to close the car doors. But I've not been able to do that because this modification was done after my interior was put in. And for me to run a pipe down underneath here and to the back, very, very complex. It might even mean I have to take out the floorboard. It's just too much effort. So having it just behind the driver's door is a bit of a compromise, but not a massive one, because I can, at least, if I want to, dusty day, I can, without these doors. I couldn't do that if these doors were open. If the air receptacle was inside the back here, I'd have to leave one of these doors open while blowing the dust off. You see, that's obviously not desirable. Right, now, to that story in South Africa. Now, I have to smile. So I had it fitted in my Africa Troopy. And sad to say, very disappointed. Not in the product. I think that product, and I'm not going to name and shame them, I think that product has enormous potential. But for the second year in a row, they couldn't get the installation right. And I just said, guys, forget it. No. You've had 2 chances. But I did try out a product that many of you will be very, very familiar with. So now I'm going to demonstrate my new compressor with this other gadget. It's called Indeflate. I made up this device. It's just a little improvement to the Indeflate guys, because your system requires, I'm connected it to both tires. It's not quite long enough for me to get close to the camera, but that is a standard tire valve for pumping up. So I've made up this to enable me to, so that's now deflating the tires. Of course, if I want to do it fast, I do it like that. Now it's very clever because it's allowing the air from 2 valves to come out simultaneously, so the deflation times are going to be. So I'm going to time this now on camera. It's going to be very, very boring. I'm going to deflate. Now it's in, thank you very much, PSI and kilopascals. Of course, for those of you guys who work with bar 100 kilopascals. So 300 kilopascals is 3 bar. So it's easy to do that conversion. I'm going to let the tires down to, we'll go down to 2 bar. I'm now going to pump it up to 3 bar and I'm going to time it. I'm not going to leave the video running the whole time because honestly it's just too boring, but I promise I won't fudge it. All right, I'm just going to basically put that like that in there and ta-da, and it is now pumping the tires. And when it gets to 3 bar, I shall stop the timer. I have to leave it running so I can time it in the editing room. So I will leave the camera running, you understand, but I might cut here, or here, or here, and then jump to this. Right, that's it. It's pumped to 3 bar. Right, so now the Indeflate system allows me, and you can get it for all 4 tires at the same time. I decided that, you know, I like keeping things simple. 2 is fine. 2 is absolutely fine. And again, another reason why I made up this device here is that if I want to go directly to my tires from my system, I can, or I can use a curly hose. It's just more versatility. And if I use a curly system in the car as well, I have this, I have redundancy. So if one gets lost, I can still work it. So how was that timing? What do you reckon that timing is like? Because I don't know what it was, but it felt to me, it's up on the screen here, written here, that's how long it took. It feels to me very fast. I consider this an absolute success because I didn't want to go the route that I know works but is very expensive, and that's the ARB twin compressor with the 4-litre tank. I have gone for an AC compressor installed in the vehicle, depending upon, and this system you would need at least a 2 kilowatt inverter to run it. Anything less it wouldn't run, but I've got a 3 kilowatt inverter anyway. And that's very, very important to notice, because a lot of people, surprising number, said, but you need to buy an inverter. No. Well, yes, I've got one anyway. If you don't have one, then yes, you're right. Would you buy an inverter just to pump the tires? Probably not. No. It's now the whole advantage here of price is gone if you have to buy an inverter. But I've got an inverter. I'm using an inverter. So it's not costing me, so it still cost me considerably less than it would have had I put in my old traditional, I love it, ARB twin compressor. Great product, as I've said again and again. But why spend the money when you can get better performance, quite a bit better performance, for far less if you have an inverter? Right, and there's no question about it that the Indeflate, which is a South African invention, it's marketed in Australia by Maxtrax, not in South Africa though, and they sent me 2, one for my Africa vehicle and one for my Aussie vehicle. Thank you to the guys at Indeflate. It's a great product because it's simple. It's simple. It's simple. And yet it speeds things up. Is my AC compressor system simple? If it's not overly complicated, but yeah, it's more complicated than I give you that. But remember, it's an experiment. That's what I do. And hopefully you've learned something. If you don't like it, that's cool. If you do, that's even cooler. I hope you found that interesting. I found it very interesting. And I've got a working system. It has its flaws, but it works, and it was cheap. Next episode in this series, a result of the suspension have now been fitted in my vehicle. I've been driving it around and experimenting with it in the next program. But to tell YouTube that you're interested and to let you know when I drop another one, well, then you're going to have to tell them by clicking that little notifications bell. Until next time. I built this vehicle myself, did almost all of the work, including the wiring and the plumbing. I have used 3 Egon game-changing simplicity products in this build. I'm going to highlight one right now. It's called the Egon DC Hub. All my batteries, there are 1 in the dashboard, 2 at the back, go to 1 unit. I have 3 chargers, a solar, DC-DC, but 2 of them. And they go via the Egon DC Hub Dual. DC Hub is basically one place where everything is wired. If you're struggling to figure out the wiring of a build, the Egon DC Hub does all of the difficult stuff for you. It's like paint by numbers. You just run the cable to the place on the DC Hub according to in-depth instructions, and you simply wire it according to those instructions, and I guarantee you it will work first time, every time. Not only that, if you have a blown fuse, the little LED light comes on in the DC Hub, so fault diagnostic becomes an absolute breeze. Honestly, if you want to simplify your build, it's game-changing simplicity. The Egon DC Hub is a revolutionary product, and there is nothing like it, dare I say it, in the world.